But I want to play the clip with the lady who was now, I believe, 34. She's talking about how she met Russell at the age of 16. And she's going over this kind of like what happened and how it all went down. So I want to play this because I think it's important to see this part. Let's see. I think this is it.
Brand of sexual misconduct has described his response to the allegations as insulting. Mr. Brand posted a video denying any wrongdoing hours before claims of rape and sexual assault were published by British news outlets 4 and the Times newspaper. He also accused the mainstream media of carrying out a coordinated attack on him. We are calling this woman Alice. She spoke to Women's Hour on Radio 4. The show's presenter Emma Barnett told me why Alice chose to speak up.
It's her first interview since she's spoken to the Sunday Times and of the UK and talked about what happened in her relationship when she was 16 and the comedian was originally 30. I mean, he's also a Hollywood actor. People will know him around the world and he's cultivated many fans online. He's strenuously denied all of these allegations, but she hasn't spoken since the response of Russell Brand, where he has issued these denials. And also, she hasn't spoken about the age that she was really in a bit more detail. I think she has reflected as an older woman on what she thought she was at 16 versus what she is. And here in the UK, it differs around the world. The age of consent, sexual consent, is 16. Now, that was a rule that was made in the 1800s.
All right. We don't care when the rule was made. We care about what the rule is today, right? And I think that's what she's about to say. This was something going on in the 1600s, but it's the UK, and this is what you guys do, okay? So it's 16, it's 16. So what is she saying? At the age of 16, a woman has, or at 16, you have consent. You can give sexual consent. This is where we are. A 16-year-old gave consent because, according to their law, you can do it. Whether you like it or not, you guys, is irrelevant. We're not here for your feelings. We do what? We do facts. What we do over here? We do facts over feelings over here, you guys. And the facts are, at her age of 16, she was messing with Russell. Russell was 30 at the time. Whether you like it or not, it's none of our business. What is our business is the accusations that are being made. She is the one who is saying that he sexually assaulted her. Now, we're about to hear an interview between them. And so let's be clear. She decided now that she's an adult, she's in her 30s. I think now she's 34 years old. You guys, this happened 18 years ago. Now she's like, oh, all of a sudden I have an epiphany about what happened when I was 16, when I gave this man consent that I can give legally. Okay? Legally. So she is allowed to have sex with whoever she wants. But she's saying she was sexually assaulted. It doesn't make sense. All right, so let's hear what she has to say. And this is the lady, I guess, who's interviewed.
Hundreds. And she is asking for there to be a review, at least, of that, and talking about how even her mother, who tried to stop this relationship, and this was now she views a grooming situation. She views it, the law has changed since her relationship with.
All right. So what is the second factor that she talks about this this alleged victim? Two things. She was consent age to make the decision that she made. Two, her mother knew about it, and her mother says she tried to stop it. But what does that mean to me? That means to me that this 16-year-old was out here doing cartwheels on the street. And even her mother couldn't control her. That's what this is about. And a lot of times, this is what happens. You have a lot of young girls who are fast and are out here running up and down. They want to do what they want to do. And they don't follow the rules that their parents lay out for them. You guys, I've seen it all the time. I'm not saying it's right. What I'm saying is you have these young teenagers who want to be grown. And they come out here and live a grown lifestyle. And guess what? They fall victim to people out here who take advantage of them. Even when it's legal for them to do so. It's not a crime to manipulate people. You guys, I'm sorry. It just isn't. And so what she's saying is, and what you're going to hear her say in her own statement, this alleged victim, you're going to hear what she has to say. But I like what this journalist is saying. She's saying the mom was involved, and the mom tried to stop it. But guess who was not listening to the mom? Right? You guys, it happens all the time. This whole thing, these allegations are bullshit.
Russell Brand as an element of coercive control. She views it very, very differently, as well as the specific allegation of sexual assault.
Well, let's have a listen to Alice when you ask her if Russell Brand knew that she was 16 when he first asked her out.
He knew before we ever went on our first date. So when we met initially and he took my number and asked me out on a date, he hadn't asked me, but he didn't know. So I texted him prior to, because he said to me, he knew that I was stalling on agreeing on a date with him. And he said, why aren't you? He said.
So right then and there, she's already acknowledging that she never told him her age, even though she was at the age of consent, right? So again, this girl, when she was 16, was running around acting grown. She knew who Russell Brand was because he was already famous. So again, here we have another thing. I see it all the time. You got young adults and teenagers out in places trying to be picked up, trying to be seen by these celebrities. And granted, I don't agree with some of the choices that they pick because some of these girls are young, they're underage. But at the same time, if they're legal age, there really isn't anything illegal taking place. You might feel some kind of way about it because you're like, he's older and she's younger. But as long as she's legal, you guys, the law, there's nothing you can do about that, right? As long as she's an adult, she's a consenting age, there's nothing anybody can do about it. It just is what it is.
Said, what's going on? Like, why don't you want to go out with me? I said, because I've got something to tell you. I said, I'm 16. And he just replied saying, okay, so we're still on for dinner at 7:30.
And how old was he?
He was 30.
What do you want to say about that now as an older woman?
What is now that I'm in my 30s, looking at 16-year-olds, I can't even imagine finding them sexually attractive. I can't imagine even thinking of them as that, a potential mate in any way. It just seems the only feelings I have towards them are maternal protective feelings. I couldn't even imagine. You just don't even put them into that category in your head. As I became an older woman and began reaching the same age as him, that's when I really started to feel angry.
And felt like what had happened wasn't consensual, in inverted commas, or what? How would you describe that? Because although it's technically legal, the power imbalance, which is what you're referring to there, is huge in this.
Power imbalance? It's legal. You may not like it. She's saying, well, now that I'm an adult, I'm looking back at it and I'm just like, no, you're an adult. You're probably not financially have it together. You're looking at this as an opportunity to get money. And now you're like, yeah, I think I have a case against him. I might be able to get something where he might pay me off. No one is believing this. There's no way. There's no, because there's no evidence. And again, his interaction with her is lawful according to the law in the UK, you guys. So, but what the journalist is now trying to allude to is that there was a power imbalance. No, there wasn't. Where's the power imbalance? But to now accuse this person of coercion, taking advantage of, and things of that nature, I want to know what your mother told you should have did. That's what I want to know. That's what, hey, what'd your mom tell you about this? You saw a celebrity that you wanted to be with. You were young and easily influenced. I mean, okay. You made that choice.
Yeah. And just because, he was telling me that I'm a very intelligent woman, I'm mature. Being intelligent doesn't mean that you're not naive and that you're not vulnerable and that you.
So because you're naive means that now all of a sudden it's his fault. And I don't think you were naive. I think your mother told you exactly what you shouldn't do. And I think you did what you wanted to do. So I like how this lack of accountability now, oh my God, I'm 34 years old. I think I was naive back then. Oh, really? I think you're naive now. I think you're naive to think that you have a right to come out here and accuse somebody of something that they did not do, all because you have a regret of something that you did. Now, are you naive? Were you naive when you're 16? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure you were, as we all were. But do you blame the person who took advantage of your naivety? Nah, I think that's bullshit. But now we're talking about we are creating a society where women can be void of all accountability. But we don't extend that grace to boys. We don't extend that grace to men. This is only something that's unique to women, to where women can make several mistakes throughout their life. And they could turn around and say, well, I was naive, so you guys should forgive me, right? I'm naive, so it should be the other person's fault. No, what'd your mother tell you? What'd your parents tell you should have been doing? I guarantee you guys, if we were to interview her mother would have a different version of this story. And that's a fact. I've seen it. Seen it. She was fast. She was out here in the streets doing cartwheels. Guess what? As people say, she was on the cop carousel, running around in the streets. She was fast, you guys. That's what this is all about. And now you're looking for an opportunity to make money.
You don't have the life experiences, and your brain isn't fully developed.
Some reaction from Downing Street describing these allegations again.
Now your brain's not developed. I like how we pick and choose when we want to use that your brain's not developed theory, especially when it comes to allowing kids to change their genders. So listen, this is a very sensitive topic. I'm not, going to act like it isn't. But at the same time, we have to be very honest. And when you're talking about someone who's investigated these types of crimes, I'm telling you wholeheartedly that there's no such thing as believe all women. These people lie, all right? And not only do they lie, but the accusation alone has destroyed men's lives and also have put them in the grave. Now, I'm not saying that he did or he didn't do anything, right? This is not what this is about. This is about a man who's being punished already through the court of public opinion. He's already been found guilty without any evidence or any investigation that has been done or ever being reported when these incidents happen. You just heard from one of the alleged victims who accused Russell Brand of sexual assault when she was 16. Again, she waited 18 years before she said something. And the question is why? Why did you not make a report of these incidents or whatever that you think transpired when they happened? It makes your case not credible. I think we really need to get to a point in society where we start educating women and young girls that they're not going to be coddled by society simply because they're a female. And I think that this has become such a dangerous trend, not just in the UK, but also in the US, where women walk around like they are above being held accountable. Your actions have consequences. This is a fact. You have to be careful with the company you choose, where you go, how you dress, the way you conduct yourself, the men that you associate with, the things that you do, and where you put yourself. You guys, this can open the doors for you to become victimized by criminals. No one cares about how you feel. We care about the facts. This is something that people don't talk about, which is the fact that when a woman is caught lying, when she is caught falsifying information or falsely accusing a man of something as egregious as sexual assault, you guys, what tends to happen is nothing, right? I've seen cases where men have went to prison for over 10 years behind a lie that a woman told about being sexually assaulted. And when they are released because they find out it was a lie, nothing happens to that woman who made that accusation. Could you imagine that the amount of power that you have to where you can falsely accuse someone, in most cases with no evidence or not enough evidence, they still get punished. Then they find out you lied and there's no punishment. The courts don't do anything, and the criminal justice process does not step in to do anything. So what happens? You have women who walk around with this idea they can lie with impunity. Because what do they say? I'm gonna tell you what they say. They say they don't want to punish women who are caught lying because they don't want to discourage women who really are telling the truth from coming out because their fear of being prosecuted. You guys, that is bullshit. And again, that is the standard that we use here in the US, that we don't want to punish those who are lying because we're afraid that those who are telling the truth will be afraid to come forward. Again, the criminal justice system favors women. Women have a very powerful voice, and a lot of them abuse it. What's my thoughts? My thoughts are, if a woman is caught lying and falsely accusing a man of a crime, especially domestic, especially sexual assault, that whatever time that man would have gotten if he was found guilty, or if that man was found guilty and did time, I believe the proper punishment, an equitable form of punishment, would be for her then to do the same time that he did or would have done in reference to the lie that she told. That is how you square that circle. That's how you discourage women from doing this and weaponizing their voice, weaponizing false allegations and accusations towards men. They need to be punished. They need to be held accountable, period. You guys, as men, what can we do to avoid these situations? Every case that I've worked where a man was falsely accused of sexual assault, it was because that man was out hunting and chasing ass all day, all night. And it doesn't justify or make it right. But I tell men all the time that just as women can be victims of crime, we can also be victims of crime. We can be victims of vindictive women who want to weaponize sexual assault, weaponize abuse, weaponize the criminal justice system against you because some women do it for fun. Some women put themselves in these positions. They go to the bar, they sit down, and they do it for fun because maybe they had a bad experience with an ex. They had a very abusive childhood. I remember dealing with a woman, investigating her and her claims of sexual assault from men. And you know what she told me? She said, this is how she gets her payback. This is how she gets her payback. She takes herself to a bar. She takes herself to fancy hotels. She dresses very provocative and she sits down and she waits for the guy to come flirt with her. And you know what happens? There's always a guy looking. Why? Because there's too many men out here who are chasing ass all day. All day. That's what they do. They're chasing the box. You have guys who are out here always looking to smash something. This is a problem. Men who have status, men who have means, and they worked hard for what they built. Listen, you can't afford to lose it all simply because you're out looking for sex. This is one of the biggest mistakes men can make. You have to be careful. There are women out here who are criminally minded, who put themselves in position to take advantage of you. Whether they are playing the long game or the short game, they are playing a game nonetheless. And they will dress and don themselves in the most provocative attire. They know how to be extremely feminine, right? I call it performative femininity. They know exactly how to weaponize their sexuality and attract the man that they want. And they're looking for the man who doesn't pay attention. They're looking for the man who is easily smitten by her looks, her deceptive looks. And then what happens? You're simply trying to get your rocks off and you're willing to do anything and everything. I've seen these cases. I've investigated these cases. These women will do whatever they can to get back to your place or get back to a hotel. And guess what? All of a sudden you get a mysterious knock at the door and before you know it, right, you've been robbed of everything that you have. You guys, this is a real thing. It's a real game. And majority of the cases that I've worked where women have lied or not been honest, they were out here dealing with men who were looking for a quick fix. So fellas, the best advice I can give you is you need to vet these women properly. Don't lead with the little head, lead with the big head. Think it through and know that every woman out here is not a unicorn. Every woman out here is not innocent. There are women out here who are criminals. And you might think that you're preying on them. And in actuality, you yourself were the prey the whole time. And so, just a word of advice to the fellas out there. It is real and it's difficult out here. And so you got to be careful. Absolutely got to be careful. And you know, a lot of women get away with lying on men. There are men in prison today behind a lie that a woman told. Some are in prison above the ground, and some are in prison below the ground. So, you know, you got to move wisely, fellas. All right. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this video. What do you think? Should we believe all women? Right? What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on women being able to make accusations and without any type of legal process, and then the entire society, the media believes that this individual is guilty? Is that fair? Ladies, is that fair? You know, I want you to comment on this too. You know, do we give women too much leadway? Should we believe them, or should we trust the legal process? And again, I know that it doesn't always work out. It is what it is. It's fact-based and evidence-based investigations. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. There's sometimes women report crimes and they're falsified crimes, and the man is still found guilty. You know, so it's a very, very dangerous thing, and we do have to be mindful. But and I'm not saying the allegations, whether they're true or not true. I'm referring to the fact that he's considered guilty, and the blowback behind these accusations is the issue. And everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and we have to respect that. But it just seems like when it comes to women, those rules don't apply. All right. Anyways, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. Let these truths find you where the lies have left you. Good night. God bless.